move forward here. Do some George. I'm gonna skip that one. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna skip. I'm not gonna post all of them. I talk too much in it. There's not enough George. Anyway, do a verse and then we will move forward. Chapter 18 of Isaiah. As we mix all the great leaders here, Napoleon, George. This is kind of funny. That wasn't very fun though. It was good at first, and then you can tell when they trickle in and start messing with it and do this and that. I make a good play and they get all hurt and start whining like little babies. I'm not interested. Do I do it? No, I'm not interested. Thank you though. I don't like cheats, you know? That's what we're bitching about. Thanks. On camera. Military. I can feel it on the desk, jackass. Rain or sunshine, it does not matter. I can feel it. Chapter 18, Isaiah. Woe to the land shadowing with wings, which is beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, that sendeth ambassadors by sea, even in vessels of bulrushes upon the waters, saying, Go ye swift messengers, to a nation scattered and peeled, to a people terrible from their beginning. There thereto. A nation meted out and trodden down, whose land the rivers have spoiled. All ye inhabitants of the world, and dwellers on the earth, see ye, when he lifted up in Zion on the mountains, and when he bloweth the trumpet, hear ye. For so the Lord said unto me, I will take my rest, and I will consider in my dwelling place, like a clear heat upon herbs, and like a cloud of dew in the heat of her harvest. For afore the harvest, when the bud is perfect, and the sour grape is ripening in the flower, he shall both cut off the sprigs with pruning hooks, and take away and cut down the branches. They shall be left together unto the fowls of the mountains, and to the beasts of the earth, and the fowls shall summer upon them, and all the beasts of the earth shall winter upon them. In that time shall the present be brought unto the Lord of hosts, of a people scattered and peeled, and from a people terrible from the beginning hitherto, a nation meted out of trodden under foot, whose land the rivers have spoiled, to the place of the name of the Lord of hosts, the Mount of Zion, the Mount of Clayton. We'll do one more, chapter 19. 9 ton. 19.
Yeah, we're gonna have a huge problem with that.
The burden is Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come upon. The Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be.
Here, let me turn the
at his
camera around
presence,
real quick.
And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. And they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the rivers shall be wasted and dried up. And they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds and flags shall wither. The paper reeds by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything down by the brooks shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. The fishers also shall mourn, and all they that cast angle into the brooks shall lament, and they that spread nets upon the waters shall languish. Moreover, they that work in fine flax, and they that weave networks shall be confounded. And they shall be broken in the purposes thereof, all that make sluices and ponds for fish. Surely the princes of Zon are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them all thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath purposed upon Egypt. The princes of Zon are become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head of tail, branch, or rush may do. In that day shall Egypt be like unto woman, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it.
And secure supply caches to help remove the bounty on their head.
The mirror? You did it? You actually did it?
Eliminate all targets in the AO.
And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt, shall be a mirror unto Egypt. Everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself. So when they look at it, that's odd.
Tagging field upgrade.
In that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan, and swear to the Lord of hosts. One shall be called the city of destruction. In that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior, and a great one, and he shall deliver them. And the Lord shall be known in Egypt, and the Egyptians shall know the Lord in that day, and shall do sacrifice and oblation. Yea, they shall vow a vow unto the Lord, and perform it. And the Lord shall smite Egypt, and shall smite and heal it. And they shall return even to the Lord, and he shall be entreated of them, and shall heal them. In that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrian shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians. In that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt, and with Assyria even a blessing in the midst of the land, whom the Lord of hosts shall bless, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, mine inheritance.
Halo looks better.
Go to the Brahmin.
You kept your squad mate in one piece. Contract complete.
This alone is also brought. Okay, so we did this one. How, what, who, why. Speech is indeed Brati, is well known fact, and in Brati all recess are included, for it is extolled as the vital force. For another Shruti says Brati is the vital force, i.e. AI, A2I6. One should know the recess as the vital force. I bid 2, 2, 2. The recess are included in the vital force as they consist of speech. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Ding, ding, ding. The number 2 would be the base.
It's been a while, dude.
I bet.
Like,
how much you want to bet? He figures this out.
I'm not confident right now.
It's a musical measure. He has the bell out, is what it is. I bell. How this is so is being explained, and this vital force is its lord, the lord of speech, i.e. of the recess in the form of Brati, for it gives rise to speech, since the recess are recited through the air, which is propelled by the fire in the stomach. Or the vital force may be the lord of speech, being its protector, for speech is protected by the vital force, seeing a dead man has no power to utter words. Therefore this is also Braspati, i.e. the vital force is the self of the recess. I'm alive. You? We're talking about you? Yeah. I'm not gonna. If they're alive, I won't read it unless it's bro. I'm about to do Sky Thief. It'll be interesting. See how that works. 21. This alone is also a Brahmaspati, lord of the Yajus. Speech is indeed Brahman, Yajus, and this is the lord. Therefore, this is also Brahmanspati. Similarly, the self of the Yajus, how? This alone is also Brahmanspati. Speech is Brahman, ox, Yajus, which is kind of speech, and this is its lord, the lord of the Yajus. Therefore, this is indeed Brahmanspati as before. How is it known that the words Brati and Brahman mean that RC and the Yajus respectively and nothing else? Because at the end of this topic in the next paragraph, the word speech is used as coordinate with Saman. Speech is indeed Saman. Similarly, in the same sentences, speech is indeed Brati and speech is indeed Brahman. The words Brati and Brahman, which are coordinate with speech, ought to mean the RC and the Yajus respectively. On the principle of the residuum, also this is correct. When the Saman is mentioned, the money is mentioned, the RC and the Yajus only remain. Another reason is that they are both forms of speech. The RC and the Yajus are particular kinds of speech, hence they can well be coordinated with speech. Moreover, unless they are taken in that sense, there will be no difference between the two terms of each sentence. In the next two paragraphs, Saman and Udgitha clearly denote specific objects. Similarly, the words Brati and Brahman ought to denote specific objects. Otherwise, not conveying any specific object, they would be useless, and if that specific object be mere speech, both sentences would be tautological. And lastly, the words Arsi, Yajus, and Saman, and Githa occur in the Vedas in the order here indicated. Number 22. You see the do.
You get the
At the end
beat
of the
off.
twos, and you have a 3. 22. This alone is also Saman. Speech is indeed Sa, and this is Ama, because it is Sa, speech, and Ama, vital force. Therefore, Saman is so called. Or because it is equal to a white ant, equal to a mosquito, equal to an elephant, equal to these 3 worlds, equal to this universe. Therefore, this is also Saman. He who knows the Saman vital force to be such attains union with it, or lives in the same world with it. This alone is also Saman. How? This is being explained. Speech is indeed Sa. Whatever is denoted by feminine words of speech, sa, for the pronoun sa, she, refers to all objects denoted by them. Similarly, this vital force is ama. The word ama refers to all objects denoted by masculine words. For another Shruti says, how do you get my masculine names? He should reply, through the vital force. And how my feminine names? Through speech, cow. So this word salmon denotes speech and the vital force. Again, the word salmon denotes a chant consisting only of a combination of tones, etc., that are produced by the vital force. Hence, there is nothing called salmon except the vital force and speech for the tones, syllables, etc. By the vital force that depend on it. This vital force alone is also salmon because what is generally known as salmon is a combination of speech and the vital force, sa and ama. Therefore, salmon, the chant consisting of a combination of tones, etc., is so called, well known in the world. Or because it is equal in all those objects to be presently mentioned, therefore this is also salmon. This is the construction. The word or is gathered on the strength of the alternative reason, indicating for the derivative of the word salmon. In what respects is the vital force equal? This is being answered. Equal to the body of a white ant, equal to the body of a mosquito, equal to the body of an elephant, equal to these three worlds, i.e. the body of Viraj, equal to this universe, i.e. the form of Hiranyagarbha. The vital force is equal to all these bodies, such as that of the white ant, in the sense that it is present in its entirely in them, as the essential characteristics of a cow, Gatva, are present in each individual cow. It cannot be merely of the size of these bodies, for it is formless and all-pervading. Nor does equality mean just filling up these bodies by concentration or expansion, like lamplight in a jar, a mansion, etc., for the Sruti says, these are all equal and all infinite. 1b13, and there is nothing inconsistent in all-pervading principle, assuming in different bodies their particular size. He who knows this salmon, i.e. the vital force called salmon because of its equality, whose glories are revealed by the Vedas to be such, gets the result, attains union with it, identification with the same body and organs as the vital force, or lives in the same world as it, according to the difference in meditation. This is meant to be the result of meditation, continued till identity with the vital force is established. 23. This indeed is also Adgitha. The vital force is indeed Ut, for all this is held aloft by the vital force, and speech alone is Githa. This is Adgitha because it is Ut and Githa. This indeed is also Adgitha. The Adgitha is a particular division of the Saman, not chanting, for the topic under discussion is salmon. How is the vital force Adgitha? The vital force is indeed Ut, for all this universe is held aloft, or supported by the vital force. This prefix Ut, meaning holding aloft, denotes a characteristic of the vital force. Therefore, the vital force is Ut. Speech alone is Githa, for the division of salmon, called Adgitha, is variety of sound. Githa, coming from the root gay, denoting sound, is nothing but speech. You found it to Utah, at Area 51? That would be Nevada, but
Gas is moving.
the Adgitha cannot be conceived as having any other form but sound. Hence, it is right to assert that speech is Githa, the Salt Lake.
Enemy's got a sentry online.
The vital force is Utah, and Githa is speech dependent on the vital force. Hence, the two together are denoted by one word. This is Adgitha.
Enemy UAV is online.
The vital force deception. The Buddhist text. 19 Bossa Navago speech. It's a bubble, dude. My eyeball. First of all, you can see the burn.
Not this time.
They've touched it a couple times, like the exact spot. You can feel it, like it lifts up the tone. I'm pretty sure they put Dawn. My list, the S. They put Dawn in the water, and I could feel it on my tongue. That's how I could tell. So there's definitely, it's an electrical thing. Definitely.
If they survive, they redeploy.
Maybe down in Texas, I don't know. The vital force, he's pointing it out. He's trying to get to the bottom of it. A merchant named Superwise. Handmaiden? What a little jackass.
The enemy took that one.
Hey, I
We'll get
continue
it
to
back.
read. I guess that's what it is. Anyway. Hi, how are you? I don't see anybody. Bum it up. The reflection of you, I believe. A merchant named Superwise tries to cheat his partner named Wise by having his father pose as a tree diva. A tree diva. Wise sets fire to the tree and out scampers the father. Good is the name that Wise has got, but not the name of Superwise. Through my foolish son Superwise, I am roasted to a cinder. Hey, you came to me, bro. I didn't come to you. I was just chilling. I don't know what you were doing. I was well within my right, as you can see. There's no need to hide. I don't know what you're doing at all. I am roasted to a cinder. Here. Here, the resurrection here, Gramps. Let me beat you to a pulp. I feel like I don't have everything. He's getting old in his time, and he's getting all weary with the elbows. He's got to stretch out with the feng shui. Correct and timely speech. That's feng shui. A young cuckoo is being fostered by a crow, but gives his identity away when he cries out. The crow kills him, throws him out of the nest. He who talks for too long and talks at the wrong time, like the cuckoo's fledgling, he is quickly destroyed. Neither a sharpened sword nor can deadly poison destroy quite as quickly as badly spoken words. The wise protect the words at the right and wrong time, and will not talk too long, even to their equals. The wise speak suitably and in a measured way, having thought aforehand, and thus defeat their foes, as bird overcomes snake. The dangers of wrong speech. The high divinity Tutu approaches Vin Kokalika and advises him to have respect for the two chief disciples, but he is rebuked by the venerable, who is intent on blaming them. I'm ready to go. What's the holdup? When a man is born in this world, there is a hatchet in his mouth. With that, the fool cuts himself up, speaking what is badly spoken. He who praises the blameworthy, and he who blames the praiseworthy, piles up bad fortune with his tongue, and therefore finds no happiness. The qualities of good speech. The Buddha explains the 4 qualities that make for good speech, and summarizes them with a verse, which is followed by another improvised by Vin Vangasu, who is considered the foremost disciple in extemporary composition. Vin Vangiza? Vegeta? I'm in the wrong spot. He's still going down from the Himalayas. He's still a little further back. They haven't made it that far. We're not at the Tao yet. Excuse me. This is before Tao. We're in Tibet, I believe.
Without George, I'll let you have that one.
So the Brahmin would be like India, and then moving past the Brahmin into Asia. So this would be like Tibet, and like I guess Pakistan. Have to get my facts straight. Excuse me. Nepal. So it'd be like Nepal and then like into Tibet. Excuse me. Recollect the map. What is well spoken is the first quality of speech that is good. Speaking on Dhamma is second. Speaking with pleasant voice is third. Speaking with truth in mind is fourth. He should only speak a good word, which will not cause him torment, and does no harm to another. Those words are truly well spoken. Speaking kindly. A bull wishes to repay his master, and has him wage a bet he can draw 100 wagons. But when the time comes, the master scolds him, and he doesn't make an effort. Later the master speaks kindly, and the bull draws the wagons, earning his master a fortune. He should speak those words that are good. He should not speak words that are bad. He who has spoken well is good, but speaking badly he suffers. Truth is the sweetest thing. The Bodhisattva gives and keeps his word to return to a man-eating king who is threatening to eat him. And part of the dialogue which follows, the Bodhisattva preaches on the virtue of keeping to one's word. Of whatever kinds of tastes there are on the earth, truth is the sweetest and the best of all. Know that monks and priests steady in the truth. Cross to the further side of birth and death. Truth is immortal. Vinjisa speaks another verse inspired by a teaching of the Buddha about truth. Truth consists of mortal worlds. This good Dhamma is eternal. Well established as truth, goodness, and Dhamma say those who are good. Only promise what can be done. A queen asked the king if the mountain they see ahead were made of gold, would he give her some? He says he would not. That's an exact quote. You earned it, I promise. When it can be done, then speak up. I've been speaking up, and you've been. When it can be done, then speak up. When it cannot be done, speak not. Not doing after promising. The wise know it's speaking falsely. No. Keeping one's promises. King Sivi is very generous and resolves to give even his body parts away if asked. Saka decides to test him and dressed as a Brahmin asks for his eye, to which the king agrees. The townsfolk try to persuade him to change his mind, and this is part of his reply. He who having said he will give makes up his mind not to give it, fastens his own neck in a snare that has fallen down on the ground. He who, having said he will give, makes up his mind not to give it, is the most wicked of wicked. He falls into Yama's armies. The results of lying. Despite being warned of the dire consequences, a king of old, desiring to raise a younger brother above an older one, tells a lie, and not only loses his magical powers, but is swallowed up by the earth when he repeats it. When speaking a lie or falsehood, the gods depart and go away. The mouth becomes putrid and foul, and he destroys his own position. This happens so that a person who, when asked, answers with something false. I appreciate you talking about boycotting Final Fantasy there. It rains for him at the wrong time and doesn't rain at the right time. This happens to that person who, when asked, answers with something false. That's not true. The one endowed with a forked tongue, O king, is likened to a snake. This happens to that person who, when asked, answers with something false. The one not endowed with a tongue, O king, is likened to a fish. This happens to that person who, when asked, answers with something false. To him females will not be born, and nor will males be born to him. This happens to that person who, when asked, answers with something false. To him there will be no children, or they will move away from him. This happens to that person who, when asked, answers with something false. The liar is capable of wrongdoing. Sinka Manavika falsely accuses the Buddha of impregnating her. The gods help reveal the lie, and Sinka falls into the Vici hell. For the person speaking falsely who transgresses in this one thing, who has abandoned the next world, there is no bad thing left undone. I think it's maybe like it's your turn, you know, and you said no, and like you keep doing it over and over and over again until it's like the answer is yes. False? Like I would rather not? Like what do you mean? Yo, cannibal. Yo, bro. Yo, you gonna cannibal it up, bro? Bro, he who created the heavens and the earth for a purpose, exalted is he who above is associated with him in worship. He created humans from sperm drop, then behold, they openly challenged him. 16:5 of the Quran. And he created the cattle for you as a source of warmth, food, and many other benefits. They are also pleasing to you when you bring them home and when you take them out to graze. And they carry out your loads to distant lands which you could not otherwise reach without great hardship. Surely your Lord is ever gracious, most merciful. He has also created horses, mules, donkeys for your transportation and adornment. And he creates what you do not know. It is upon Allah alone to clearly show the straight way. Other ways are deviant. Had he willed, he would have easily imposed guidance upon all of you. He is the one who sends down rain from the sky, from which you drink and by which plants grow for your cattle to graze. With it he produces for you various crops, olives, palm trees, grapevines, and every type of fruit. Surely in this is a sign for those who reflect. And he has subjected for your benefit the day and the night, and the sun and the moon, and the stars have been subjected by his command. Surely in this are signs for those who understand. I don't put much thought to it, you know? And he subject for you whatever he has created on earth of various colors. Surely in this is a sign for those who are mindful. And he is the one who has subjected the sea, so from it you may eat tender seafood and extract ornaments to wear. And you see the ships plowing their way through it, so you may seek his bounty and give thanks to him. I'm glad you know what that is. I appreciate you. He has placed into the earth firm mountains, so it does not shake with you, as well as the rivers and pathways, so you may find your way. Also by landmarks and stars do people find their way. Can the one who creates be equal to those who do not? Will you not then be mindful? George, this is you, bro. Bro! Potomac Company Manager, to James Rumsey. Mount Vernon, July 2nd, 1785. Sir, early in last month I wrote you an answer to your letter of March 10th, and sent it undercover to my brother in Berkeley, who happened at that time to be from home. The presumption is, however, that you received it ere this, and I shall not trouble you with a repetition of the sentiments therein contained. In that letter I enclosed you a handbill of the proceedings of the Board of Directors, containing an advertisement of their want of a manager, 2 assistants, some overseers, and a number of laborers, requesting that it might be exposed at some public place in the county where you live. Those of the 2 first descriptions were required to meet the directors at Alexandria on yesterday, but whether the notice was too short, or that characters who are competent to the business are difficult to be met with, I shall not take upon me to determine, but none appearing with such testimonials of their abilities, industry, and integrity as the board conceived indispensably necessary for the justification, no agreement was made. But the 14th instant appointed for them and others to produce such of their qualification for this business. I mean, again, I can go elsewhere. Like that's not the issue. I think he's pointing out that like instead of doing this, you did this. Which I also pointed out. Like you're basically, I don't like the way it was being done. You're trying to bring in 100 people on one guy. I'm not really trying to hear that. As far as the nature of the beast goes, at all. So I think he's pointing out, I would be above you. No offense. Everybody's trying to prove themselves. I think it's funny. So it's not up for debate. It's not a question. It's not up for debate, and it's not a question. So you did this instead of this. Though they are not the issue. But you see, the board is the one that should have, I think is what he's pointing out. They need to take it upon themselves to do this. As I have imbibed a very favorable opinion of your mechanical abilities and have had no reason to distrust your fitness in other respects, I took the liberty of mentioning your name to the directors, and I dare say if you are disposed to offer your services, they would be attended to under favorable circumstances, I dare. But as this is a business of great magnitude, and good or ill impressions in the commencement of it will have a powerful effect in the minds of the adventurers and on the public opinion, and as the directors are no more than trustees of the company, I've already said that, and of consequence must proceed circumspectly, candor obliges me to observe to you, as I believe some of those who will meet for your purpose of appointing a manager and assistants have only a superficial of the Potomac Company. acquaintance with you that it might be well if you incline to offer your services to bring some letters or other credential of your industry and seat, and if these were to come from members of the company, they would have the greater weight. Colonel Gilpin, one of the directors and who is the bearer of this letter, is on the way to the Falls of Senka and Shindoa, and it would be fortunate if he should meet with you in this trip. I am etc. To Robert Hanson Harrison. Mount Vernon, July 3rd, 1785. Dear Sir, in the interval between your leaving this and the arrival of Mr. Briscoe, Mr. Montgomery of Dumfries recommended a young man whom he thought would answer my purpose, and being desired to speak to him, he accepted my offer and will be with me in the course of a few days. Had it not been for this, the good character given of Mr. Briscoe by you and others would have induced me without hesitation to have accepted his services. I thank you very sincerely for the ready and early attention you paid to my inquiries. To assure you of the great esteem and regard I have for you is unnecessary, because you must be convinced of it. I shall only add, therefore, that I am, etc. To William Shaw. Mount Vernon, July 8th, 1785. Sir, your letter of the 4th I received on the 6th. Although the sum stipulated is above the mark, I have prescribed myself yet, in consideration of the good character given of you by Mr. Montgomery, the idea I entertain of your knowledge of accounts, and the hope that you may answer my purposes in other respects, I accede fully to the terms of your letter, with this condition only, that in payment of this sum, dollars shall be estimated at 4 and 6 pence, sterling and other gold and silver coin, courtesy in this country, currency in this country, in that proportion. This is the legal difference of exchange of it, and will render it unnecessary for either of us to inquire into the rise or fall to ascertain the value of any payment. I do not request you to come here for the time mentioned in your letter, but should be glad if you would not exceed it. With esteem and regard, I am, etc. Secretary's pay. She was receiving pay, so how am I not receiving pay? I appreciate you, Marie. Papa over here, you're trying your hardest. To Thomas Corbin, Mount Vernon, July 8th, 1785. Sir, yesterday afternoon I had the honor to receive your favor of the 24th of June, covering a letter from Colonel Fairfax of Bath, dated in March last. The latter speaks of the injurious treatment you have met with, and of the aspiration of your character in England, for which I am exceedingly sorry, but as he draws no conclusion, and your letters is silent, I am a little at a loss to discover the tendency of the information of them to me, and therefore shall only add that whenever it is convenient and agreeable to you to come into this part of the country, I shall be glad to see you at this place, and that I am, etc. From the letter book copy in the I mean, did you want me to send them a message like, hey, I have letters from Washington and others saying that I am to get a license for this? Like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I what do I do? To the President of Congress. Mount Vernon, to myself, Mount Vernon, July 9th, 1785. Dear Sir, Mr. Dorman, who does me the honor of presenting this letter to your Excellency, is represented to me as a gentleman of great merit, and one who has rendered most benevolent and important services to the injured sons of America, at a period when our affairs did not wear the most favorable aspect. He has some matters to lay before Congress, which he can explain better than I, the justice due which and his sufferings need no advocate. But I take the liberty, nevertheless, to introduce him in your countenance and civilities with great respect, etc. I don't really need an introduction. There's no need for that. To Thomas Smith. A formal letter here. I don't really feel the need to give a speech here. I mean, obviously, on the fly. The Eagle. Swoop down. You put him a roadblock where there is no roadblock to be needed. When there's no roadblock to be needed. George, I believe they're confused with the plasma there. I believe that you're confused on that, and I'm not backing off. So you can keep looking up there all you want. You have your orders, I have my orders. I'm not backing off.
You still have squad mates outside the safe zone.
So who do I send a letter to achieve my license to move forward and this loan, which we're definitely willing to pay back the right way, you know what I mean? Like I'm definitely willing. I don't know what you're not understanding here. I'm definitely willing. What do we not understand with the legal documentation that I have here? That is the presiding paperwork over the situation. So you made a fatal fucking error, probably. I would assume that you made a pretty big error.
Adjusting prices.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. You don't really need to say much, as Mr. Trump is in front of me. All you need is a picture. You know what I mean?
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
That's kind of all you need. A speech. Again, that's the whole point of it,
Hostile shooter.
Mr. Trump. So you have this right here. I would be outside of that. Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. I don't know why you have tears in your eyes. That's funny. Rain hellfire down. Yeah, funny, bro. There's a reason you did it to begin with. That's funny, bro. Yo, Kane, bro. Back from the dead. You jumped the gun. I think you missed your mark.
Hostile UAV in the area.
Hey, bro, I'm over here, actually. I appreciate you, though. Again, I'm no different than anybody else. But there's definitely an exemption and a rule to be had here.
Enemy UAV overhead.
I don't know what else to tell you. That's all that needs to be said. To Thomas Smith. Mount Vernon, July 14th, 1785. Sir, your letter of the 9th of...
We're gonna stop right there. That way I can make a gun before I forget. I was waiting for me to stop.
Gas is closing in. Relocating safe zone.
Call of Duty. I'm not that good at you, so.
No weapon here.
A little glitchy though. That's why I don't play you as often. It's too sketchy.
Assault back here. No weapon here.
We lost that one, but we'll get a W next time.
Play solo.
February was long on its passage to me, but my answer would not have been delayed till now had not much time been spent in obtaining the several enclosures herewith sent you, a very necessary voucher, however, viz., the British King's proclamation properly authenticated, forbidding the settlement of the western lands, in defiance of which the defendants took possession of the land which was surveyed for military service, is not yet come to hand, but shall be sent as soon as it does. The signature to Posey's bond has the best proof of the handwriting I can obtain without incurring much trouble and expense. There are numbers in this part of the country where he formerly lived who are well acquainted with his handwriting, but these are far removed from the executive of the state or any of the judges of the Supreme Court of the Commonwealth. To me, I confess, the proof seems unnecessary, for in my judgment there can be no higher evidence of the authenticity of the bond than the recognition of it in the grant, which, if I mistake not, expressly declares that it is granted to me as assignee of John Posey. Consequently, this government must have been satisfied of the legality of the assignment, and such as would warrant the patent granted me, Clayton Dale Smith, thereon. I transmit to Smith you the act of our assembly passed in the session of 1779 and properly authenticated, in which is included all the law relative to the present subject. In this you will find upon what footing settlement and preemption rights are placed, and what are the requisites necessary for rendering them valid. It is very certain the defendants had not taken those necessary steps pointed out by the law in order to give them a title by settlement or preemption. They knew that the land had been surveyed for me, that it was always called mine, that one cabin, if no more, was built upon it when they came there, and they were repeatedly forewarned from settling themselves there during the life of Mr. Crawford. Being thus apprised that their claim was contested, they should have submitted it to the decision of the commissioners sent out to the country for the special purpose of adjusting all such disputed titles. And although the jurisdiction of these commissioners only extended to unpatented lands, yet such a submission was necessary on the part of the defendants, that they might obtain certificates and act agreeably to the direction of the law. As they failed to do this, I conceive they had preluded themselves from setting up a title by occupancy at this day. I say they failed to make the submission because I was never summoned to litigate their claim. Any proceeding therein without such a process would have been illegal. You better transfer the money.
I haven't got a
over
valid
my
answer
account,
yet.
little boy. I assure you, I will kill every goddamn one of you. I hope it was worth it, little bitch. I hope. You can, yeah, please do. Yes, that would be most advised.
I don't like the selection. Some of them are like burst round. I don't want the burst round. LMG? I could. I haven't tried that. I think he wants me to remove the cleaver. I think is what it is.
Okay, now we know. Now we can move forward. They're just flat out ignoring me. Again, like, I keep posting on here and trying to reach out, and I'm pretty sure it's a ghost. I expect that one objection to my title will be that this land was not surveyed by a county surveyor. It was not surveyed by Clayton Smith, CS, but only by one invested with special commission. I can feel it on the glass in my speech.
Okay.
But only by one invested with special commission for surveying the 200,000 acres which were given as a bounty to the 1st Virginia Regiment. But you'll find that my case comes fully within the first clause of the law, and as this survey was covered with a military warrant such as mentioned in the Act, no person could more legally have made it than Mr. Crawford. I will observe here that at this time this survey was returned to the office. Mr. Crawford was deputy surveyor to Mr. Lewis. You will observe by a subsequent clause in the law that all locations made by officers and soldiers upon the lands of actual settlers shall be void. But this cannot operate against me for several reasons. In the first place, it is confined merely to locations and cannot extend to patents. Secondly, admitting that my survey was made lawfully, then it is evident that instead of being intruded upon, the defendants themselves were the intruders. And thirdly, settling my survey and patent out of the question, I was the prior occupant and entitled to at least 1,400 acres, admitting only one cabin to have been built although I believed in Captain Crawford in letters which I left with you expressly declares that there was more, so that whichever way you view their title, it appears to be defective. From what cause I know not, but I believe Captain Posey's warrant is dated subsequent to the return of the survey made by Mr. Crawford, and if I remember right, the recital in the patent which you have makes this appear. I apprise you of the lest any handle should be made of it by your opponents. If you actually go back through all the videos, sir, in the clouds, there's actually more than one. They pointed out. I've seen more than one. Now, as far as like the shiny, the bean, I've only seen that. I've seen it twice. And it was doing the same thing. And I've only seen one of them. They were not, it wasn't together. And so if you actually go back through the videos in the clouds, they will point out there was at least 3 in one of them. That they in the artwork through the clouds. So. Hey, I have my thing going on. You can say whatever you want. Again, I keep trying to pursue it. I don't know what to say to you. I guess I could approach him. Hey, I have the paperwork I need. You're talking about the land. I don't even know where the land would be. See, they've concealed everything. Let's go into false statements and concealment. I get ahead of myself sometimes. Excuse me. Concealment, failure to disclose your. That's what he's doing. Yeah, this is what they did. Failure to disclose. Its scope extends beyond statements. So now you know. The only difficulty which can arise in the prosecution of the ejectments in my conception, if my legal title should be thought insufficient, which I scarcely think it possible, is to prove the extent of my improvement before the defendants took possession of the land, and the warnings which they received afterwards to quit it. Idiot. Stop making false statements. Ladies, come to me. Quit talking to the other men. I mean what I say. Colonel Crawford, who transacted my business... Oh, you want to bet me? Colonel Crawford, who transacted my business in your county, or his brother Val, could have placed these matters in a clear point of view, as I dare say many others are able to do, if I knew who to fix upon and how to come at them. But never having an idea that it was necessary, and the removal of persons and etc. may give some trouble. License regulations. Yeah. Here it is. The health and senior services. I like how they highlight senior services. Talking to you, George. This would be the place, though, where you would go to apply for it. You would also have to go to the board, like a liquor license. To ease, again, the license. You're on a different, your mindset's different than where I'm at, which I'm down. I think they're down, but I mean, I'm not down with that. That's the thing. The tool. Now, the underlying thing is like the ghost whisper. I'll give you that you would need that to defend against. But anyway, I feel myself under great obligation to Mr. Wilson for signifying a readiness to serve me in this suit, because I am satisfied motives of friendship more than of interest were at the bottom. His attendance in Congress must now render this impracticable if it were ever so necessary, but to me the case seems so clear and self-evident that I think nothing more is necessary but to state facts. However, as you understand the decision of your courts better than I do, I leave it wholly to yourself to call in assistance or not, and from whom you please. I should be glad to know when you think the cause will come to issue. If I kept you morally certain of the time, and nothing of a greater importance should happen to prevent it, I would be in the western country at the time. I am, etc. Valentine Crawford, Washington, D.C. I know they legalized it. Set up right in the Capitol. That'd be amazing. That would the right way to do it. Front and center. P.S. Since writing the above, I have received an attested copy of the proclamation alluded to in the body of this letter, which, with the letter enclosing it from our Attorney General, I send on a cursory reading of it, for I was obliged to enclose it almost in the same instant I received it. It may be doubted, I think, whether military locations beyond the sources of the rivers running into the Atlantic do not come under the general restrictions to remove this objection. If it should be made, I will endeavor to obtain an attested copy of it, order of the governor and council of this dominion, recognizing the right of the troops of the state to lands under the foresaid proclamation, and directing surveys thereof to be made on the western waters, though I fear it will be difficult to come at, as I have understood that the records of the Privy Council had fallen into the hands of the enemy, or were otherwise lost. She's, England, just the letter alone, E, on the river. They never would have given you that if they would have known you were going to go to the enemy, which was what happened with the dog whistle.
I'm not gonna change that.
It's just the letter E alone. T, E, anything with an E. To Alexander White, Mount Vernon, July 14th, 1785. Dear Sir, Mr. Francese's letters to you and to me, the last of which I also enclose for your perusal, are so expressive of his want as to render it unnecessary for me to add aught on the occasion of them. He has been considered, though confined within the British lines, as a friend to our cause. It is said he was remarkably attentive to our prisoners in the city of New York. He needs to be arrested, is what he's saying. Again, these wishful thinker fuckers here. This entire fucking town. I'm trying to leave these dudes. I don't know where you're coming. That's why, like, I'm kind of not. I don't have anything to do with you. I want nothing to do with you. Period. On camera. I'm making it a point. He's trying to prove this and that. Okay, so I have... Like, what are we not understanding here? Now I have to what? You can arrest that dude. The troops? If we were going to know... So that guy would be the enemy? Like, he should be arrested right now? What's going on here? So whenever push comes to shove, she's pointing out. And he is pointing out. You understand? They would be implemented in there. Attention, Miss Assault with a vehicle. He has been considered, though, New York supporting them as far as the means would allow in the hour of their greatest distress. I don't care if they're my dude. I do not care. You have dug your grave. Shut up. That's how I feel about it. This is which get real mean. This it is which lead both Governor Clayton and myself to countenance and support him, and is the cause, I presume, of his applying through me to you, and must be my apology for giving you the trouble of this letter. Excuse my intolerance, but due to the there it is. It's revolved around that. Assault.
Well, I like it. I'm not changing it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna change the pistol though. I usually change that. I don't keep that, so it's gonna.
Due to the negligence of this state and presiding authority figures. With respect to his demand against the estate of General Lee, I know nothing. His letter, to the best of my recollection, is the first intimation I ever had of his being a creditor. The propriety and justice, therefore, of the claim must speak for themselves, and will no doubt have their due weight. The time of payment seems interesting to him. The subject of this letter reminds me of an account of my own against General Lee's estate, which I put into the hands at the Springs last year. With great esteem, I am, etc. Yeah, you can arrest that dude that just drove by. Right here? That's why. The whole lot of them. I believe that's one of the dudes that instead of doing this, they did that. You know what I'm coming from? Because I'm the one in charge here, not you. You are at 0, little bitch. I cannot wait. It's like, I don't like any of you. What are we not understanding here, ladies? Can we not? Maybe you should not have done this. To William Fitzhugh, Mount Vernon, July 14th, 1785. Dear sir, your favor the 4th came to me on the 12th. At the time of writing it, you could not have received my letter dated in the latter part of June, covering one of the Richard Bolton, not knowing how otherwise to get one to him. I took the liberty of addressing it to your care. In that letter I informed him that if he did not immediately enter upon the execution of his contract, I would put the penalty thereof in force, but from the abandoned course in which he seems to have engaged from your last letter, and his unwillingness to forsake his associates in drunkenness, I do not choose, although the disappointment occasions me the loss of a summer attachment, to be concerned with him, lest his bad example should have unfavorable influence upon my workmen, of which I have several. I beg, therefore, in my letter to him that has not been forward. Start speaking Shakespearean, dude. King James. Thee, thy, thou, thee, boo, beep. You know, I'm not going to do this with you. Bitch. I beg, therefore, if my letter to him has not been forwarded, that you would be so obliging as to destroy it. As I am in immediate want of the articles which you were so good as to offer me, I had the rather take the chance of a water conveyance round than to send my wagon to Colonel Platter's. But as this may not happen soon, and it is unreasonable to keep you out of the cost of them, if you ascertain the quantity and price of such as you can best spare, I will pay the amount to your order at any time. The brass spring locks and hinges, and any other hinges, the mortice locks and furniture, and glue, and painter's brushes, or such part of each as you can most conveniently dispense with, may be added to my former list. The guinea glass also proved as defective as yours, but my nephew, who arrived after I had the pleasure of your company at this place, brought me a small quantity from Bermuda, some of which I sowed and part has vegetated. If it prospers and is worth cultivating, I will supply you with a little of it, put you in stock. He speaks of it in very favorable terms, but is doubtful of the climate. Mrs. Washington joins in compliments and best wishes for Mrs. Fitzhugh and yourself with dear and seat. P.S. I address this letter to you at Annapolis in consequence of the information of your intention to be there about the middle of this month. From the letter book copy in the Washington papers. No. No. I mean, it should be that way, but no. I am not in... I'm indispensable at this time. For obvious reasons. I cannot compel the actions that you require. I'll be right back. Take a $5. Yeah, bad vibe. Bad vibe in here.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Tagged and bagged.
He's like, you're getting lucky. Consistently, you're getting lucky. Your luck is at like 10, I promise you. I promise you that luck is a 10.
Sending flashback.
It's a 10, bro, I promise.
Shadow 01. Deployment to the war zone has been authorized. Battle Royale. Gas is approaching your position. Move to the safe zone.
going?
Marking target location.
Okay, bro.
Hunt down the enemy. Ways to keep it tight. Supply box UAV is inbound. Your squad mates in the gulag. They'll fight for a chance to redeploy. Squad mate has been cleared for redeployment. Your squad made it to the safe zone. Gas is inbound.
No, bitch. Well, how many times I have to tell you no? Go over to Solomon. I appreciate you. Knock, knock, knock. I could do that. I don't see anybody. I had a little birdie knocking on my window. Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing right now, isn't it? Is that what he wants? That's kind of funny. Dude, it's been I've been hearing the noise for like an hour. It's been that bird was doing it for like an hour. I just walked over there and it flew away. Okay. Okay, buddy. Get out the rod here. If you tried to count Allah's blessings, you would never be able to number them. Surely Allah is all forgiving, most merciful. And Allah knows that you conceal and what you reveal. But those idols they invoke beside Allah cannot create anything. They themselves are created. They are dead, not alive, not even knowing when their followers will be resurrected. Your God is only one God. As for those who do not believe in the hereafter, their hearts are in denial, and they are too proud. Without a doubt, Allah knows what they conceal and what they reveal. He certainly does not like those who are too proud. And when it is said to them, "What has your Lord revealed?" they say ancient fables. Let them bear their burdens in full on the day of judgment, as well as some of the burdens of those they misled without knowledge. Evil indeed is what they will bear. Indeed, those before them had plotted, but Allah struck at the very foundations of their structure, so the roof collapsed on top of them, and the torment came upon them from where they did not expect. Then on the day of judgment he will humiliate them and say, "Where are my so-called associate gods, for whose sake you used to oppose the believers? Those gifted with knowledge will say, surely disgrace and misery should err upon the
You've
disbelievers.
got a
Already thought about
loadout
it.
drop inbound.
Those whose souls the angel sees while they wrong themselves will then offer full submission and say falsely, we did not do any evil. The angel will say, no, surely Allah fully knows what you used to do.
Got gas inbound.
So enter the
Safe
gates
zone
of hell
relocated.
to stay there forever, indeed when an evil home for the arrogant. And when it is said to those mindful of Allah, what was your Lord revealed? They say, Allah the best. For those who do good in this world there is goodness, but far better is the eternal home of the hereafter. How excellent indeed is the home of the righteous. The gardens of eternity which they will enter, under which rivers flow, in it they will have whatever they desire. This is now how Allah rewards the righteous. Those whose souls the angels take while they are virtuous, saying to them, peace be upon you, enter paradise for what you used to do. Are they only awaiting the coming of the angels, or the command of your Lord, O Prophet? So were those before them, and Allah never wronged them, but it was they who wronged themselves. Yeah. Then the evil consequences of their deeds overtook them, and they were overwhelmed by what they used to ridicule. The polytheists argue, had Allah willed, neither would we nor our forefathers would have worshipped anything other than Him, nor prohibited anything without His command. So did those before them. Is not the messenger's duty only to deliver the message clearly? We surely sent a messenger to every community saying, worship Allah and shun false gods. But some of them were guided by Allah, while others were destined to stray. So travel throughout the land and see the fate of the deniers. Even though you, O Prophet, are keen on their guidance, Allah certainly does not guide those He leaves to stray, and they will have no helpers. They swear by Allah their most solemn oaths that Allah will never raise the dead to life. Yes, He will. It's a true promise binding on Him, but most people do not know. He will do that to make clear to them what they disagreed on, and for the disbelievers to know that they were liars. If we ever will something to exist, all we say He is, be, and it is.
I'm hit.
That's funny. How far are we into this? An hour? An hour and, yep. I'm getting tired of talking. About the hour mark is where I'm getting tired of talking. We'll move on. We'll make our round here. We'll do a Buddhist text. 20. Vajravaga, faults. The Buddha has no faults. A group of gods who constantly speak offensively to the Buddha, implying that he is not without fault. This is part of the exchange.
Friendly loadout drop
In
on
whom
the
are no
way.
faults found at all? In whom is there no defiance? In whom is there no deviance? Who does not foster delusion? Who is wise and always mindful? The realized one, the Buddha, who has great compassion for all, in him no faults are found at all. In him there is no deviance. He does not foster delusion. He is wise and always mindful. A small wickedness appears great to the pure of heart. A monk is reproved by a Devadita for smelling a lotus flower. Nah. He asks why she does not reprove someone who cuts down the lotuses instead. They do not accept reproof, she says, and adds the following.
Inbound.
For the one without defilements, who always seeks for purity, even a little wickedness appears as large as the heavens. Seeing one's own faults. A merchant goes to see the Buddha when he is passing through, but the outside ascetics try to persuade him not to be telling him falsely that he teaches there is no result of actions. Easy to see are others' faults, but one's own fault is hard to see. For one sifts other people's faults like chaff, but conceals one's own faults, like a cheat conceals his defeat. The fate of a fault finder. A monk is always finding fault with the others, so they ask the Buddha about it. This is his admonition. One who looks for another's faults, who is an abject complainer, for him the pollutants increase, he is far from their destruction. Looking to one's own deeds. When a lay disciple invites the Buddha for a meal, an ascetic, she supports abuses both her and the Buddha. She tells her not to worry about what the ascetic's doing or saying, but to look to herself. Not the wrong of others or what others have done or have not done, one should consider, but what has been done and not done by oneself. Patience with rough speech. Saka and other gods come to consult with the Bodhisattva. He asks questions and usually replies. Having destroyed anger, one does not act. Abandoning ingratitude, sages praise. He should be patient with harsh and rough speech. Good people say, this patience is supreme.
Move to the safe zone.
Through fear, be patient with superiors. Through fear of quarreling towards equals, but being patient with inferiors, good people say this patience is supreme. But how can we know from appearances? He is superior, equal, lower. The good sometimes appear to be ugly, therefore best be patient with everyone. No king or army receives such honor, even while waging war on the battlefield, as the patient and good person receives, being patient towards their enemies. The strength of patience. The god defeats the demons, and their leader is brought before Sokka, whom he abuses. Sokka remains calm, and the following conversation takes place between him and Madali, his charioteer. It is through fear, O Sokka, or through weakness that you forbear listening to the demon's harsh words when you are together face to face. It is not through fear or weakness that I am patient with the demon. How can a wise one, such as I, engage in argument with fools? Fools will show no more interest if you will not have them constrained. Therefore the wise one will surely restrain them with great punishment. After consideration, I think this is the way to constrain fools. If you know the other is angry, remain mindful and very calm. Through forbearance like this, Sokka, I see a great fault. For when the fool believes, he forbears out of fear. The fool rises up like a bull. If he wants, he can think like this, or not. He forbears out of fear, because out of all benefits, nothing is better than patience. The one who, though he has great strength, is forbearing towards the weak, has the greatest patience. 'Tis said, for the weak are always patient. They say strength is really weakness, when that strength is the strength of fools, but the strength of the righteous one, there is no one to contradict. By this he makes it worse, the one who gets angry or at the angry, but the one who is unangered, he wins a difficult battle. That one lives for the true benefit of both himself and the other, who, knowing others are angry, remains mindful and very calm. He is treating with medicine both himself and the other one. Those who think this one is a fool are unskilled in the true Dhamma. Number 24 of the Brahmin. Regarding this, there is also a story. Brahmadatta, the great-grandson of Sikatana, while drinking Sama, said, "Let this Soma strike off my head if I say that Asasa and Jarasa chanted the Adgitha through any other than this vital force and speech." Indeed, he chanted through speech and the vital force. Regarding this subject described above, a story is also narrated in the Sruti. Brahmadatta, the grandson of Sikatana, while drinking Soma in a sacrifice, said, "Let this Soma in the bowl that I am drinking strike off my head for being a liar," i.e., if I have told a lie. The suffix of the verb is a substitute for an imperative suffix and expresses a wish. How can he become a liar? This is being explained. If I say that Ayasaya Anjarasa chanted the Adgitha through any other deity than this vital force combined with speech, which is being discussed, the term Ayasaya Anjarasa denoted the vital force in the mouth, refers to the priest who chanted in the sacrifice of the ancient sages who projected this world. If I say like this, I shall be a liar, and for entertaining this false notion, let that deity strike off my head. The mention of his taking this oath shows that one must have a firm conviction of this knowledge. This purport of the story that Sruti concludes in its own words, he that chanter, called here Ayasaya Angarasa, chanted through speech, which is subordinate to the vital force, and the vital force, which is his own self, meaning this is the significance of the oath. Chapter 20 of Isaiah. The oath. Isaiah would be the oath. In the year that Tartan came unto Ashdod, when Sargon the king of Assyria sent him, and fought against Ashdod and took it, at the same time spake the Lord by Isaiah the son of Amoz, saying, Go and loose the sackcloth from off thy loins, and put off thy shoe from thy foot. And he did so, walking naked and barefoot. And the Lord said, Like as my servant Isaiah hath walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign and wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia, So shall the king of Assyria lead away the I know where you're at. I know exactly where you're at. Hold on. I don't know
9
why I didn't
minutes
think of that
left.
before.
But we can very well imagine Herr Bosserman at the head of a liberal ministry, or Herr Spahn in a coalition
Excuse me for a
conservative.
second. Cut you off there. Here's where you're at. The exact place. Where are you? You in your town. Well. You know where I'm looking for. The Tashka Lakes, Tartan. Anyway, he's down here somewhere at these ancient Egyptian. And the Lord said, like as my servant Isaiah, no, hath walked naked and barefoot 3 years of a sign and wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia. So shall the king of Assyria lead away the Egyptians prisoners and the Ethiopians captive, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered to the shame of Egypt. And they shall be afraid and ashamed of Ethiopia and their expectation, and of Egypt their glory. And the inhabitant of this isle shall say in that day, behold, such is our expectation, whether we flee for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria, and how shall we escape? For 3 years, I would not do that. Dakia? It looks more vibrant, honestly. It looks updated. Lake Nubia, Lake Noob.
Well, I'll be done there.
There's several
I
places.
don't think I'm done, but I'll be
It's
done.
not that big.
7 minutes will be my 7 minutes. I will continue Napoleon though here in a minute. Now that I've got my gun out of the way, congregation, George, even though your name's not on it, you didn't like that. That's part of it. The graphics quality. I changed something earlier. I need to change it back. Try to figure that out. The graphics are horrible. It's skipping a little too much. I did make a change though, so. You guys, I appreciate the paperwork. The Brahmin going through the bros. So the Brahmin would be Iblis, refusing to submit, always saying what, how, always getting to the bottom of it. You know what I mean? The how, the why, the what, the where. He refuses to submit to it. There's always room for something else. I think is the point there. But always a pleasure.